The massive transport ship slowed as it approached Galactic University's main docking bay. Inside, Taehyun Kim looked out the viewport, his heart beating fast with excitement and worry. The enormous space station that housed the most famous school in the galaxy grew larger by the second. Taehyun had dreamed of this moment since he was a child. "We are beginning final approach to Galactic University. All passengers, please secure your belongings," said a calm voice over the speaker system. Taehyun turned to his 4 friends who sat nearby. They were the first group of humans ever accepted to study at Galactic University. Each of them had worked incredibly hard to earn their place. "Can you believe we are actually here?" asked Jiwoo Park, running her hands through her short black hair. She was the most athletic of the group and had been accepted for her work in alien biology. "I keep thinking I will wake up back in Seoul," said Do-Hyun Lee with a nervous smile. He was smaller than the others and very shy, but his engineering skills were amazing. Minji Kang nodded as she put away her tablet. "My parents still cannot believe humans are allowed to attend. They said when they were young, most aliens would not even talk to humans." The 5th member of their group, Hyunwoo Choi, looked up from the book he was reading. "That is because our planet is classified as a death world. To most galactic species, Earth is basically a nightmare." Taehyun knew this was true. Humans came from a planet that most aliens saw as incredibly dangerous. Earth had high gravity, extreme weather, dangerous animals, and unpredictable natural disasters. Humans had evolved to survive these harsh conditions, making them much stronger and more durable than most galactic citizens. The ship docked with a gentle bump. Taehyun and his friends gathered their bags and joined the line of students heading toward the exit. Through the windows, they could see the welcoming committee waiting in the arrival hall. "Remember what we were told," Taehyun said quietly to his friends. "Move slowly, smile gently, and try not to make any sudden movements. We do not want to scare anyone." As they stepped off the ship, Taehyun immediately noticed how the other new students gave them extra space. Most alien species were slimmer and shorter than humans. Many had colorful skin in blue, green, or purple shades. Some had extra limbs or eyes, but all of them seemed nervous around the human students. A tall, thin alien with pale blue skin approached them. He wore an official university uniform and carried a tablet. Despite trying to appear calm, Taehyun could see that his hands trembled slightly. "Greetings, Earth students. I am Professor Orcs, head of New Student Affairs. Welcome to Galactic University." His voice was high and musical. "Thank you, Professor. We are honored to be here," Taehyun replied with a small bow, keeping his movements slow and controlled. Professor Orcs blinked his 3 eyes in sequence. "We have prepared special living quarters for you, considering your unique needs. If you will follow me, I will show you to your rooms." As they walked through the massive arrival hall, other students whispered and pointed. Some moved quickly out of their path. Taehyun tried to ignore it, but he felt like an animal in a zoo. "The gravity in your quarters has been adjusted to match Earth standard," Professor Orcs explained as they entered a transport tube. "The air mixture has also been customized for your breathing requirements." "That is very thoughtful," Minji said politely. "But we can adapt to standard station conditions. We trained for this." Professor Orcs looked uncomfortable. "Yes, well, the university believes it best to provide you with familiar conditions. For your comfort, of course." The transport tube opened onto a hallway that looked much sturdier than the rest of the station they had seen. The walls were thicker, and the doors appeared reinforced. "These are your rooms," Professor Orcs said, stopping before 5 doors at the end of the hallway. "You each have private quarters, but there is also a shared common area through that door." He pointed to a larger door across the hall. "Are we separated from the other students?" Hyunwoo asked, looking around with a frown. "For safety reasons, yes," Professor Orcs answered. "Many species find humans intimidating. Your larger muscle mass, dense bone structure, and resistance to toxins make some students uncomfortable." "We did not come here to be isolated," Jiwoo said firmly. "We came to learn and to be part of the galactic community." Professor Orcs shifted nervously. Of course. You will attend regular classes with everyone else, but your living quarters need to be stronger than standard rooms. Humans sometimes break things without meaning to. Taehyun could see his friends growing frustrated, so he stepped forward. We understand, Professor. Thank you for making these arrangements. When do classes begin? Orientation starts tomorrow morning, Professor Lorick said, visibly relieved by the change of subject. Your schedules have been loaded to your personal devices. The cafeteria is on level 3, and there is a special section with Earth-suitable food. After Professor Lorex left, the 5 friends gathered in their common room. It was nicely furnished but felt too sturdy, as if designed for creatures who might destroy furniture by accident. Well, this is not what I expected, Do-hyun said, sitting carefully on a couch that barely moved under his weight. They are treating us like we might break everything or hurt someone, Jiwoo said, pacing the room. Did you see how that professor kept his distance? Minji sighed. We knew this would happen. Humans have only been part of the Galactic Confederation for 10 years. Most species have never even met a human before. And all they know about us comes from reports about Earth, Yeonwoo added. From their perspective, we grew up on a horror planet and somehow survived. Taehyun walked to the large viewport that showed the busy space lanes around the university. Ships of all sizes moved through the darkness, carrying students from 1,000 worlds. We need to show them that we are more than just strong, he said quietly. We need to show them that humans belong here too. A message alert sounded on all their devices at once. Taehyun checked his tablet and saw it was a welcome message to all new students, describing the traditions and events of the university. One section caught his eye immediately. The annual Coach War competition will begin in 3 weeks. All species groups are encouraged to participate in this honored tradition that builds community across galactic cultures. Taehyun smiled slowly. I think I just found a way for us to change how they see us. His friends gathered around to read the message. As they learned more about the Coach War, their eyes lit up with interest and determination. Do you think they will even let us compete? Do-hyun asked doubtfully. They cannot stop us if we follow all the rules, Taehyun replied. And this might be exactly what we need to show everyone, that humans are more than just Death World monsters. As night fell on their first day at Galactic University. The 5 friends stayed up late, planning their strategy for the Coach War. None of them knew that their decision would soon change everything, not just for themselves, but for how the entire galaxy viewed humanity. 2 weeks passed at Galactic University, and life had fallen into an uncomfortable pattern for the 5 human students. They attended classes where other students left empty seats around them. They ate in the special section of the cafeteria, where their dangerous Earth food could not contaminate others. They walked through hallways where other species pressed against the walls to avoid touching them. Taehyun tried to stay positive despite this treatment. Today he sat in Professor Naran's Galactic Cultures class, listening to a lecture about different planetary traditions. Professor Naran was a tall, thin alien with green scales that changed color with his mood. Right now, they were bright blue, showing his excitement about the topic. And so we come to the most important university tradition, Professor Naran said, his scales rippling. The Coach War begins next week. This competition has been part of Galactic University for over 500 years. Minji raised her hand, and Professor Naran hesitated before calling on her. Yes, Earth student Minji? Could you explain more about the Coach War? The welcome message mentioned it, but not in detail. A quiet murmur spread through the classroom. Professor Naran's scales flickered to yellow, showing surprise. The Coach War is our greatest tradition, he explained. Teams from different worlds compete in a series of physical and mental challenges. Each team has 5 members and 1 coach. The winning team earns honor for their home world, special privileges for the academic year, and the Golden Cup. Yeonwoo raised his hand next. Can any student participate? Professor Naran's scales turned an even deeper yellow. Well, technically any recognized species of the Galactic Confederation can enter a team. But he did not finish his sentence, but he did not need to. Everyone understood what he meant. Deathworlders like humans were not expected to join normal, Student activities. After class, the 5 friends gathered in their common room to discuss the coach war. We should enter, Jiwoo said firmly. This is our chance to show everyone what humans can do. Do-hyun looked worried. But what if we confirm their fears? What if we really are too strong or too dangerous compared to other species? That is why we need to be smart about this, Taehyun said. We need to show not just our strength but our control, our teamwork and our intelligence. Minji nodded. I did some research. No Deathworld species has ever competed in the coach war. If we join, we will make history. There is one problem, Hyunwoo pointed out. We need a coach, someone who knows the rules and traditions of the competition. They fell silent, considering this obstacle. Who at Galactic University would agree to coach the feared humans? The next day, Taehyun went to the competition office to register their team. The administrator, a small purple alien with 6 arms, looked shocked when Taehyun explained why he was there. Humans want to enter the coach war. The administrator blinked rapidly. Is this some kind of joke? No joke, Taehyun said calmly. We wish to participate like any other students. The administrator checked the rules on his screen. Well, there is no specific rule against Deathworld species. He sounded disappointed about this. But you need 5 team members and 1 coach to register. We have 5 team members, Taehyun said. We are still looking for a coach. The administrator made a strange clicking sound. Good luck with that. You have 3 days to complete your registration with a coach, or you cannot enter. Finding a coach proved extremely difficult. Taehyun and his friends asked 12 different professors and staff members. Each one found some excuse to refuse. Some claimed they were too busy. Others said they did not know enough about human biology to coach them effectively. The real reason was clear. No one wanted to be associated with the dangerous humans. By the 3rd day, they were running out of options and time. That afternoon, they sat dejected in the university garden, watching other species practice for the competition. Maybe this was a bad idea, Do-hyun said sadly. No one wants to help us. We cannot give up, Taehyun insisted. Not when we have come this far. Excuse me, said a voice behind them. I hear you need a coach. They turned to see an older human woman with silver-streaked black hair and bright, intelligent eyes. She wore the blue uniform of university staff. You are human, Minji exclaimed in surprise. The woman smiled. Yes, my name is Yujin Bae. I work as a cultural liaison for the university. I have been here for 20 years. Another human at Galactic. University? Hyunwoo could not hide his shock. How have we not met you before? I was away on business when you arrived, Yujin explained. I just returned yesterday and heard about 5 brave young humans trying to enter the coach war. Her eyes twinkled with amusement. You have caused quite a stir. Will you be our coach? Jiwoo asked eagerly. The registration deadline is today. Yujin studied them thoughtfully. Do you understand what you are getting into? The coach war is not just a simple competition. It has deep cultural significance. By participating, you are challenging centuries of prejudice against Deathworlders. That is exactly why we want to compete, Taehyun said firmly. We are tired of being feared and isolated. We want to show everyone that humans can be part of this community. Yujin smiled slowly. Then I would be honored to be your coach, but I warn you, this will not be easy. The other teams will not welcome you. Within an hour, they had completed their registration. The administrator looked stunned to see them return with a coach, especially another human. He reluctantly processed their paperwork and handed them the official rule book and schedule. Congratulations, he said, not sounding congratulatory at all. Team Earth is now entered in the coach war. News of the humans entering the competition spread quickly through Galactic University. By dinner time, everyone was talking about it. As the human students walked into the cafeteria that evening, the normal hush that followed them was replaced by buzzing whispers and curious stares. They say humans can lift 3 times their body weight. I heard their bones are nearly unbreakable. Someone told me they can survive without oxygen for several minutes. Most of these rumors were exaggerated, but the humans had become the main topic of conversation. Some students seemed interested, others worried, and a few were clearly angry about the humans joining their sacred tradition. The next morning, Coach Yujin met them in a private training room she had reserved. "First rule," she said as she paced before them. "Forget everything you think you know about competitions. The Coach War is unlike anything on Earth." She activated a holographic display showing previous competitions. The humans watched in amazement as alien teams navigated obstacle courses in varying gravity, solved complex puzzles under time pressure, and performed feats of coordination that seemed impossible. "The competition has 5 main events," Yujin explained. "The Endurance Maze, the Knowledge Bowl, the Adaptive Challenge, the Team Construction Project, and finally, the Team Synchronicity Challenge." "How do we prepare for all that?" Do-hyun asked, looking overwhelmed. "By using the one advantage humans have that no other species fully understands," Yujin said with a smile. "Our adaptability. Earth has thrown everything at humans: disasters, climate changes, predators. We survived it all by adapting quickly to new situations." "But the other teams have competed before," Minji pointed out. "They know what to expect." "Yes," Yujin agreed. "And that is their weakness. They train for specific challenges while we will train to handle the unexpected." As they left the training room, they passed a group of tall, muscular blue aliens who were clearly athletes. The aliens stopped and stared at the humans with cold, 3-eyed gazes. "Those are Arcturians," Yujin said quietly after they passed. "They have won the Coach War 5 years in a row. Their planet is Class 4, much more hospitable than Earth, but still challenging. They will be your strongest competition." "Will they accept us if we win?" Do-hyun asked hopefully. Yujin's expression grew serious. "Winning is not enough. How you compete matters more than whether you win or lose. You need to show them that humans are more than just strong survivors from a death world. You need to show them your humanity." Taehyun nodded, understanding the true challenge ahead. They were not just competing for a trophy, they were competing for acceptance. "We will start training tomorrow at dawn," Yujin said. "Be ready for anything." As they walked back to their quarters, Taehyun noticed something different. For the first time since they arrived, some students nodded or waved to them instead of avoiding eye contact. A small change, but a start. "I think we are already making a difference," he said to his friends. What they did not know was that the Arcturian team was already planning ways to ensure the Deathworlders would never reach the final event. The first day of training began before the station's artificial dawn. Yujin led the 5 human students to a large empty training room deep in the university's athletics section. "Most teams practice specific skills for each event," Yujin explained, as they warmed up. "But we will train differently. Our strength is not in specialized skills but in our ability to adapt." Taehyun looked around at his friends. Jiwoo was clearly the most athletic, with quick reflexes and strong muscles. Do-hyun was the smallest, but had amazing hand-eye coordination. Minji had a brilliant mind and could memorize complex information quickly. Hyunwoo knew more about history and strategy than anyone Taehyun had ever met. "Today we will focus on the Endurance Maze," Yujin said. "It is always the first event. Teams must navigate through different environments designed to test their physical limits." She activated a holographic display showing previous year's mazes. The humans watched as alien teams struggled through sections that simulated extreme heat, freezing cold, low oxygen, and strange gravity. "Most species can only handle 1 or 2 of these conditions," Yujin said. "But humans evolved on a planet with all kinds of environments. We can handle more variety than any other species. But we are not immune to extreme conditions," Minji pointed out. "No," Yujin agreed. "But we can endure them longer than most, and more importantly, we can switch between different conditions faster than other species. That is our advantage." For the next 4 hours, Yujin pushed them through a series of brutal exercises. They ran in heavy gravity simulations, solved puzzles while wearing oxygen restriction masks, and built structures wearing thick gloves that limited their finger movement. By the end, all 5 students lay exhausted on the training room floor. That was just the beginning, Eugen said, somehow still standing. Tomorrow will be harder. As they dragged themselves back to their quarters, they passed a group of Arcturian athletes who were leaving another training room. The blue-skinned aliens looked fresh and confident. "Look," one Arcturian said loudly. "The Deathworlders think they can compete. They will break the equipment," another laughed. "Or worse, break the other competitors." Taehyun wanted to respond, but Eugen placed a hand on his shoulder and shook her head. "Save your energy," she whispered. "Prove yourselves in the competition, not in the hallway." The next day, as promised, was even harder. Eugen introduced team exercises that required all 5 humans to work together under stress. They had to solve complex puzzles while being sprayed with cold water, build structures that could support their combined weight, and navigate a small maze while tied together. The second event is the Knowledge Bowl, Eugen explained during a short break. Teams must answer questions about galactic history, science, and culture. Most teams have specialists who memorize facts. We do not have time for that. Then how can we compete? Do-hyun asked between deep breaths. By working together, Eugen said. Each of you knows different things. You must learn to share knowledge quickly and combine your thinking. Days passed and training grew more intense. The humans began to notice small changes in their bodies. They became stronger, faster, and better at working together. They could communicate with just looks and small gestures. They developed a rhythm that allowed them to move as one unit. But they also noticed something else. People were watching them. Each day, more alien students gathered outside their training room, peeking through the windows to see the Deathworlders prepare. "Why are they so interested?" Ji-woo asked after a particularly difficult session. "Because you are making them question their beliefs," Eugen answered. "They expected monsters who would break things and hurt people. Instead, they see disciplined athletes working harder than anyone else." 1 week before the competition, Taehyun returned to their quarters late after some extra practice. He found the door would not open. The security panel had been damaged. "Someone broke our door," he told the others when they arrived. "We cannot get in." "This is not an accident," Eugen said, examining the panel. "Someone did this on purpose." They reported the incident to university security, but nothing came of it. The next day, they found their training room double-booked with another team. The day after that, the special Earth food in the cafeteria had spoiled somehow. "These are not coincidences," Minji said as they sat in the garden eating emergency rations they had brought from Earth. "Someone is trying to stop us from competing." "The Arcturians," Hyunwoo guessed. "They see us as a threat." "Or someone else who does not want Deathworlders breaking tradition," Eugen suggested. "Either way, we must be more careful." Despite these obstacles, training continued. Eugen introduced new challenges each day, pushing the humans to their limits. They practiced in different gravity settings, learned to breathe thinning air, and trained their bodies to handle extreme temperatures. 3 days before the competition, something unexpected happened. A small group of alien students approached them during lunch. "We wanted to wish you good luck," said the leader, a slender alien with purple skin and 4 arms. "Many of us are from Class 5 and 6 worlds. Not death worlds like Earth, but not garden planets either. We are often underestimated too." "Thank you," Taehyun said, surprised by this show of support. "We have been watching your training," the alien continued. "Your discipline is impressive. Whether you win or lose, you have already changed how some of us see humans." After the aliens left, Eugen smiled. "You are making progress. Not everyone fears you now." The day before the competition, Eugen gathered the team for final preparations. "Tomorrow you face your first real test," she said seriously. "The endurance maze will push you to your limits. But remember, it is not just about finishing, it is about how you compete." "What do you mean?" Taehyun asked. "Many will expect you to power through using brute strength," Eugen explained. "They expect Deathworlders to be unstoppable but unthinking. Show them that humans are more than strong bodies. Show them your intelligence, your teamwork, your compassion." "Compassion?" Jiwoo looked confused. How do we show that in a competition? By helping others if you can, Yujin said. By showing respect to your competitors. By competing with honor. She looked at each of them. Remember, you are not just competing for yourselves. You represent all of humanity. That night, Taehyun could not sleep. He stood by the viewport in their common room looking out at the stars. Tomorrow would change everything, one way or another. He heard a soft sound and turned to see Minji join him. Nervous? She asked. Yes, he admitted. What if we fail? What if we confirm their worst fears about humans? Then we try again next year, Minji said simply. This is just the beginning, Taehyun. We are the first humans at Galactic University, but not the last. What we do here matters, but it is not the end of the story. Taehyun nodded, feeling better. You are right. Win or lose, we are making history just by competing. Exactly, Minji smiled. Now try to sleep. Tomorrow we need to be at our best. As artificial night fell across the university, 23 teams prepared for the competition. Most had competed before and knew what to expect. But the human team was stepping into the unknown, carrying the weight of their entire species on their shoulders. Unknown to them, the Arcturian team was holding a final strategy meeting. Their coach, a tall, blue-skinned veteran of many coach wars, addressed his team with cold determination. Tomorrow we face an unprecedented situation, he said. Deathworlders have no place in our sacred competition. We must ensure they do not advance past the first event. Use whatever means necessary, but make it look like an accident. The humans must not reach the final day. The Arcturians nodded, in agreement, their three eyes glowing with purpose. The humans had no idea what awaited them in the endurance maze. The day of the Coach War arrived with great excitement throughout Galactic University. The main arena was filled with thousands of students and teachers from hundreds of worlds. Colorful banners hung from the ceiling, representing each team in the competition. Taehyun and his friends waited nervously in the preparation room with the other teams. Each team wore matching uniforms in their planet's colors. The humans wore simple blue and green outfits that represented Earth's oceans and forests. Remember your training, Yujin told them quietly. Stay together, pace yourselves, and adapt to each section of the maze. A loud announcement echoed through the speakers. Welcome to the 523rd Annual Coach War. Teams, please proceed to the arena for the opening ceremony. The 23 teams marched into the massive arena. As each team was announced, their supporters cheered loudly. When Team Earth was called, a strange hush fell over the crowd, followed by curious whispers and a few scattered boos. First time a death world has competed, someone said loudly. This should be interesting, another replied. The university president, a tall, elegant being with silvery skin, stepped forward to address the crowd. Today we continue our most honored tradition, the president said. The Coach War tests not just physical strength or mental ability, but the complete character of each species. Let the competition begin with respect and honor. The first event was the Endurance Maze, a twisting labyrinth filled with different environmental challenges. Teams would enter at different points and race to the center. As Team Earth approached their entrance, Taehyun noticed the Arcturian team watching them with cold, three-eyed stares. Be careful in the ice section, one Arcturian said with a smile that did not reach his eyes. Things can be quite slippery. Before Taehyun could respond, the starting signal sounded. The heavy doors to the maze slid open, and the teams rushed inside. Team Earth's first challenge was a desert section. Hot air blasted them as they entered a room filled with deep sand and bright lights that mimicked a burning sun. Stay together, Taehyun called as they pushed forward. Conserve your water. Many alien teams struggled in the heat, moving slowly or stopping completely. But the humans, used to Earth's varied climates, maintained a steady pace. After the desert came a swamp, section with thick bubbling mud and strange gases rising from the ground. The air smelled terrible and burned their throats. Shallow breaths, Eugene had taught them. Some gases are heavier than air, so keep your heads up. They saw several teams stuck in the mud, unable to move forward. Without hesitation, Jiwoo and Taehyun helped a struggling Proximan team that was sinking deeper into the muck. "Why did you help us?" asked the confused Proximan leader after they reached solid ground. "Because you needed help," Taehyun replied simply before his team continued on. The most difficult section was the ice zone. As they entered, the temperature dropped dramatically. The floor and walls were covered in slick ice, and freezing wind howled through the narrow passages. "Something is wrong," Minji said, examining the ice carefully. "This is not normal ice. It is too slippery, even for ice." "The Arcturians," Hyunwoo whispered. "Remember their warning? They must have done something to this section." Dohyun knelt and touched the surface. "This has been treated with something. No wonder that Arcturian mentioned it." As they discussed what to do, they heard a cry for help. Another team had slipped on the ice, and one member had fallen into a narrow crevasse. "We need to help them," Taehyun said immediately. "The clock is running," Jiwoo reminded him. "Every minute counts." Taehyun looked at his friends. "What would you do if this happened on Earth?" Without further discussion, they carefully made their way to the trapped alien. Using their combined strength, they lifted the frightened competitor to safety. "Thank you," said the alien coach. "Most teams would have left us behind." "That is not how we do things," Taehyun replied. By the time they reached the gravity wells, they had fallen to 5th place. In this section, the gravity shifted, unpredictably, sometimes pushing them down with crushing force, sometimes making them float helplessly. "Use the walls," Taehyun called as they were suddenly thrown upward. "Push off and keep moving forward." They navigated the changing gravity by working together, forming human chains when needed, and pulling each other through the most difficult parts. The final section of the maze was a pitch-black tunnel filled with obstacles. Most species could not see well in darkness, but human night vision, while not perfect, was better than many. "Form a line," Taehyun instructed. "Hands on shoulders. I will lead." They moved slowly but steadily through the darkness, feeling their way past barriers and over hurdles. In the distance, they could see the glowing finish line. As they approached the end, they heard voices ahead. The Arcturian team had reached the final stretch, but one member was trapped under a fallen barrier. "Leave him," ordered the Arcturian leader. "We can finish with 4 and still place first." Taehyun and his team exchanged glances. Without a word, they rushed forward to help. "What are you doing?" demanded the Arcturian leader as the humans lifted the heavy barrier off his teammate. "The right thing," Taehyun answered as they freed the trapped alien. The Arcturians finished first, with Team Earth close behind in 2nd place. As they exited the maze, the crowd erupted in surprised cheers. No one had expected the Deathworlders to perform so well in their first event. But what truly shocked the audience was not their placing, but the footage now playing on the large screens around the arena. The cameras had captured Team Earth stopping multiple times to help other competitors, including the Arcturians who had tried to sabotage them. "The Deathworlders helped everyone," someone in the crowd said in amazement. "They could have won if they had not stopped to assist others," commented another. Coach Yujin met her team with a proud smile. "You showed them something they did not expect from Deathworlders: compassion." The second event was the Knowledge Bowl, a test of galactic knowledge. Teams sat at illuminated podiums while questions flashed on a giant screen. Which gas is toxic to Regelians but breathable by Altarians? What year marked the formation of the Galactic Confederation? Name the 5 sacred texts of Proxima Centauri. To everyone's surprise, the humans performed well. When one team member did not know an answer, another often did. They communicated efficiently, combining their knowledge. By the end of the second day, Team Earth had moved up to 3rd place overall, behind the Arcturians and the Syrians. The atmosphere in the university had changed. Aliens who had feared or mocked the humans now watched them with growing respect. The third event was the Adaptive Challenge, where teams faced surprise tasks that tested their ability to respond to the unknown. The humans excelled here, using their Deathworld adaptability to handle whatever came their way. When asked to build a shelter using unfamiliar materials, Do-hyun's engineering skills shone. When challenged to communicate with a new artificial intelligence, Minji's quick thinking found the pattern in its language. When facing a simulated crisis, Hyunwoo's knowledge of history provided solutions based on past events. By the end of the third day, incredibly, Team Earth had moved into second place. Only the Arcturians remained ahead of them, and only by a small margin. That night, the university buzzed with excitement about the Death Worlders who competed with both strength and honor. Students who had never spoken to the humans now approached them to offer congratulations or ask questions about Earth. Tomorrow is the team construction project, Yujin reminded them during their evening meeting. The Arcturians will be desperate to maintain their lead. Be ready for anything. What they did not know was that the Arcturians were already planning their next move. They could not risk losing their championship to Death Worlders. Their coach had decided, if sabotage did not work, they would try a more direct approach in the next event. The coach war had become more than a competition. It had become a battle for acceptance, with the future relationship between humans and the galaxy hanging in the balance. The fourth day of the coach war began with growing excitement throughout Galactic University. Students and teachers from all planets crowded the arena to watch Team Earth, the surprising Death Worlders who had climbed to second place. Many who had feared humans now cheered for them. Today's event was the team construction project. Each team had to build a structure that could withstand different environmental challenges while meeting specific design requirements. This event requires perfect teamwork, Yujin told her team as they prepared. The Arcturians will try something today. They cannot risk losing their championship to newcomers, especially Death Worlders. The rules were explained to all teams. They would have 4 hours to build their structure using only the materials provided. The structure needed to include a bridge, a tower at least 3 meters tall, and a shelter that could hold all team members. After construction, each structure would face wind, artificial rain, heat, and simulated earthquakes. As the teams took their positions at separate building stations, Taehyun noticed the Arcturian leader watching them with cold eyes. When the starting signal sounded, all teams rushed to collect their materials. Working quickly, Team Earth began construction. Do-hyun, with his engineering skills, directed the overall design. Jiwoo and Taehyun handled the heavy lifting, while Minji calculated the best angles for stability. Hyunwoo managed their material usage, making sure nothing was wasted. 2 hours into the event, disaster struck. As Taehyun carried a large support beam, an Arcturian bumped into him while passing between stations. "Sorry," the Arcturian said with a smile that did not reach his eyes. "How clumsy of me." The collision caused Taehyun to drop the beam, which crashed into part of their partially built structure. A section of the bridge collapsed, destroying an hour of work. "That was no accident," Jiwoo said angrily. "We do not have time to argue," Taehyun replied. "We need to rebuild quickly." The team worked even faster, making up for lost time. As they rebuilt the damaged section, they made it stronger than before, learning from the collapse. With only 30 minutes remaining, most teams were rushing to complete their structures. The Arcturians were clearly ahead, their elegant design already finished. Team Earth was still working frantically on final reinforcements. "We will not finish in time," Do-hyun said worriedly. "Yes, we will," Taehyun encouraged. "On Earth we face real disasters and rebuild. This is no different." With just minutes to spare, Team Earth completed their structure. It was not as beautiful as the Arcturian design, but it looked solid and met all requirements. The testing phase began. One by one, each structure faced increasing environmental challenges. Many beautiful designs collapsed under heavy wind or simulated earthquakes. The Arcturian structure stood firm through most tests but lost its tower during the strongest earthquake simulation. When Team Earth's turn came, everyone watched closely. The structure swayed during the wind test but held together. The rain caused no damage. During the earthquake test, small pieces broke off, but the core structure remained standing. By the end of testing, only 3 structures remained mostly intact: the Syrian, the Arcturian, and the Earth designs. The judges awarded Team Earth second place in the event. behind the Arcturians and ahead of the Sirians. The overall standings now showed the Arcturians still in first place, but Team Earth had narrowed the gap. With only the final event remaining, the Deathworlders had a real chance of winning the entire coach war. That evening, as Team Earth discussed strategy for the final day, Professor Lorax visited their quarters. The professor, who had once been so afraid of the humans, now looked at them with new respect. "I wanted to congratulate you," he said, his three eyes blinking in sequence. "Regardless of tomorrow's outcome, you have changed how many of us see humans." "Thank you, Professor," Taehyun replied. "That means more to us than winning." After Professor Lorax left, Yujin gathered her team for final instructions. "Tomorrow is the Team Synchronicity Challenge," she explained. "It is the most important and highest scoring event. Teams must move as one, demonstrating perfect coordination and harmony. No team can win through individual effort alone." "How do we prepare?" asked Minji. Yujin smiled. "The Arcturians will practice their routine all night, perfecting every movement. We will do something different. You need rest and clear minds, but first we need to decide our approach." "What do you mean?" Hyunwoo asked. "Every team creates a technical routine showing precision and skill," Yujin explained. "But we could take a different path. We could tell a story." That night, while other teams practiced technical routines, Team Earth planned their narrative for the final challenge. They would tell the story of humanity, from Earth's earliest days to their arrival at Galactic University. The final day arrived. The arena was completely full, with spectators from every planet eager to see the conclusion of the most exciting coach war in years. The Team Synchronicity Challenge took place on a circular platform in the center of the arena. Each team would have 10 minutes to perform their routine, which would be scored on technical difficulty, coordination, and artistic impression. The Sirians performed first, creating complex patterns that flowed together perfectly. The audience applauded their technical skill. Several other teams followed, each demonstrating their species' unique abilities. When the Arcturians took the platform, they delivered a flawless performance. Their movements were perfectly synchronized, their formations complex and precise. The crowd roared with approval as they finished, and the judges awarded them the highest score of the day. Finally, it was Team Earth's turn. As they took their positions, Taehyun looked at his friends and nodded. They were ready. Instead of beginning with technical movements like the other teams, they started with a simple tableau. 4 team members huddled together in fear while Taehyun stood apart, reaching toward them. It represented humanity's first contact with alien life and the fear on both sides. Slowly, their movements evolved into a story. They showed early humans hunting together, building shelters against harsh weather, creating tools and art. They demonstrated how humans faced disasters, earthquakes, floods, fires, and rebuilt each time, growing stronger. Their formations were not as technically perfect as the Arcturians, but they carried emotional power. When they showed humans looking up at the stars, dreaming of space travel, many in the audience leaned forward in their seats. The final sequence depicted their arrival at Galactic University and their journey through the coach war. It ended with all 5 humans reaching out to the audience with open hands, an invitation to connect. When they finished, there was a moment of complete silence. Then, surprisingly, the audience rose to their feet, applauding louder than they had for any other team. The judges conferred for longer than usual before announcing the scores. Team Earth received the second highest score in the final event, not enough to overtake the Arcturians' technical perfection. The final standings were announced. The Arcturians in first place, Team Earth in second, and the Sirians in third. The Arcturians had won their 6th consecutive championship, but only by a narrow margin. As the Arcturian captain accepted the Golden Cup, he looked at Team Earth with newfound respect. After a moment's hesitation, he walked over to Taehyun and extended his hand in the human gesture of congratulations that he must have studied. "You competed with honor," the Arcturian captain said. "Next year the competition will be even greater." The simple gesture sent a powerful message to everyone watching. If the Arcturians could accept the humans, perhaps everyone could. In the days that followed, Life at Galactic University changed for the 5 human students. Other species no longer avoided them in hallways or left empty seats around them in classrooms. The special section in the cafeteria was removed after many alien students asked to try Earth food. Most importantly, the university announced a new exchange program for students interested in visiting Earth under protected conditions. 17 students immediately signed up. One evening, as Team Earth shared a meal with students from 5 different worlds, Taehyun reflected on how far they had come. When we arrived, they saw us as dangerous death worlders, he said to his friends. Now they see us as people. Not just people, Eugen corrected with a smile. They see humans, with all our strength and all our heart. You have opened a door that will never close again. The Coach War had ended, but a new chapter in human-galactic relations had just begun.